And now we're going to move on to something completely different. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Excuse me. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We teased this last episode. Derrick and I talked a little bit about it, but we said we were going to have a much deeper dive on this episode, which here it is. So yeah, this is Ubisoft's newest big open world game. They're kind of big game of the season, honestly. There really isn't anything else that I think they're putting out this holiday season that is as big as Breakpoint. And yeah, Derrick's been playing it a lot more than I have. I have my own weird way that I'm playing it, but I think he's playing it a little bit more traditionally. So I'm going to let him kind of take over and run through what he thinks is important that you should know about Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan. So we have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is a narrative follow-up to Wildlands. I believe they're not calling it like a direct, complete sequel to it because they've changed up certain elements and kind of improved on the experience that Wildland was. One of the things they had mentioned was a lot of things that we had wanted in Wildlands. They brought over to Breakpoint, like just like a few things. When you get hurt, you'll start limping and stuff like that. To have more like immersion to the game, like you'll bandage yourself up and see like the blood, the bandages you're putting on around where you're injured. You now have like different survival elements, like you need to drink water to keep your stamina up. You'll lose stamina like when sliding down the hills and traversing. But again, we are playing as a ghost. We are on the fictional island called Aurora, is where this story is taking place. But this time, instead of going up some like random factions and drug lords and stuff like that, we're actually going up against other ghosts that are no longer ghosts. They are following a guy named Walker, who was previously a ghost, and now he has dubbed himself as a wolf, and he is working on taking control of this island. And your helicopter crashes into the island, and you're now stuck there.
That's like ghost, as in like military ghost, like special forces.
Yes.
Just to be clear, we're not talking about ghost people.
Put that in there. You're part of the Special Joint Operations Command, I believe it is.
Okay.
And they dubbed them as ghosts because, they don't exist. They're not talked about. The government won't sanction them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they've definitely improved on Wildlands, but at the same time, the game did come with some bad reception due to the state of it. There's been a lot of glitches and bugs and different problems people having with like bosses respawning. With the patch they just recently put out, things seem to be a little bit better. Like you can see all of your squad's gear score, which is a change from the previous game. You now will collect different levels of weapons, which will put you on par with different areas. So kind of like Into the Division uses this. You have your gear score, and Destiny has light. So it's kind of like that, but it's super, super loose. Like, really, the game would be no different if they took that out, because you really don't focus on it too much until you come into an area and you'll see like a little red skull and it'll be 100, and you're only at like a 50 gear score, so you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. They kind of tutorialize it at the beginning, but I haven't played too much, but I haven't come into any areas yet where I've had, like, part of the mission was me having to fight against an enemy that was over my level.
Yeah, and one of the things that we noticed with that happening, because I've been playing with a lot of different people, so like I've played over the beginning game about 6 or 7 times now. It seems that if you're within like 10 points gear score level of the enemy you're facing, you'll be semi alright. But if you're over like 15 to 20 plus points away, you're going to be able to damage and take down these enemies, but if you get shot, it's pretty much one shot and you're downed.
Yeah. That's a lot more generous than say like the new Assassin's Creed games, where if you were like 1 or 2 levels below the enemy you were facing, you're kind of getting your ass handed to you. That's actually kind of a gripe I have with the way Assassin's Creed has gone. They've turned it into way more of an RPG and made the enemies, very difficult if you're not within the same level range. I hope they kind of loosen up on that on the next time around. But yeah, this is a lot less than that, a lot less restrictive.
Yeah. And you can play, the whole game can be played through. You can do it solo, which is going to be a little bit harder from what I've noticed from the times I've taken kind of by myself just to go through areas. Where it really shines is like when you're playing with at least another person or up to a full group of 4. That's really takes effect because you have these different classes, which is new too now. So you have classes that you can pick, and then from there branching are skill trees that you can upgrade yourself, get perks, get different passes of ability, which will help build around your character. So depending like what kind of team you're going with, kind of changes the experience you have in the game. I play as an assault class, so I have an assault rifle. It gets bonuses for assault rifles and shotguns. So I use the main as an assault rifle. And then if I'm with a group, I'll have a shotgun because then I'll be like down in there because the other 3 people I play with mainly use like the snipers and the panther and stealth trees. But then they also have like a medic class so they can heal you. They can send out their drone and give buffs for extra health and stuff like that. So it kind of really changes up the dynamic of the game too, where you could go into the same base and have a completely different experience depending who you're with or how you're approaching it. So you could go in with silencers and it'd be just real quiet, slowly take everybody out, and then you can just raid for all the loot you want and have the area to yourself. Or you can go in loud and then sudden all chaos is going loose.
Have you played any of the PvP?
I tried to do a couple matches at launch, but it was taking a long time to load in. And then like once you'd go with a match, I guess instead of staying in like a pool, it would kind of kick you back to the main thing where it'd be looking for like a whole nother group. And it just wasn't working too well then. But they did just recently put out a patch that kind of stabilized some things. So that'll be something I'll be going back into now that I have the game completed. And be going through there because it's also a little bit harder going into that solo. Because when I went by myself because no one else really wanted to try it. And I just got owned because you have like another team that's working together. Somebody's a sniper, somebody's out there looking for you because it's 4 versus 4, and you're in like a small to like mid-range map size. And it's just pretty much fight in and eliminate the other team. So if you're all just not communicating, just going around whatever, it's easy to get picked off pretty quick in there.
Okay. So not really the highlight, but it's there if you want to check it out.
Yeah, like I said, if you have a group that you're playing with and everybody's down to go in and like wants to do that kind of thing, I could see it being a lot of fun. But when you have those people that don't really like it, so you're kind of trying to drag them in there too, it's not going to be the same experience.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so I've been playing solo the whole time, and I can definitely attest that it is much more difficult playing solo. It's I don't know if it's possible to spec in a way that would allow you to go in guns blazing in solo. I imagine that there probably isn't, so you kind of have to be way more into the stealth systems and really scout out the base and find out where the enemies are you need to take out first, and then kind of like pick them off as they are like freaking out about why their partners are getting shot in the face with a sniper rifle. So that means I've gone sniper route, which gives me some bonuses in sniping, and I've kind of gone down the route of getting like boosting my sniper rifles basically, because there's drones in this game, which is kind of like a big part of the story. And there are, the drones that you know from like, reality with that are flying around with propellers and stuff. They'll spot you and things like that. But there are also drones that are on the ground they're like almost like tank kind of things. That's where the sniper class kind of starts to lose its luster, so to speak, because I can headshot somebody, a person, but I can't headshot a drone. So they always take a couple more hits, but there's a way to spec in this game that allows you to do bonus damage to drones specifically. So there it is possible to turn a sniper into something that can kind of handle just about anything. It's still difficult when you get surrounded, which is the worst thing in this game. You can take dudes out from a distance all you want, but the AI isn't really that dumb. It will try to flank you and circle around behind you, and that's where things get dicey, especially when you're solo. So you have to try to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd say too with like talking about the AI. The game world is also more full too than Wildlands was, so there's a lot less empty spaces and a lot more filled spaces. And the AI is definitely a lot smarter. Because like you're saying, they definitely do flank. They keep that up. They get harder. You'll have like helicopter patrols going on because your enemy this time is trying to control this island and keep control of it a very certain way, where Wildlands was like all these different factions having these different areas, and then each different area kind of interacting a different way with you. To where this is, you're going against one enemy.
Yeah.
They have this island, you're in one spot, and
yeah, they're like an organized military force,
Yeah, so like they'll have like a drone go overhead looking for you too, and if that drone spots you, you'll have like a battalion of wolves come after you. Sometimes it'll be 3, sometimes it's going to be like 5 or more, depending on where you're at on the map.
Yeah. I haven't had that happen to me, but I have heard about that, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's hard because like sometimes you'll get like a prompt, but if you're like in the middle of it and then all of a sudden that hits, it can cause some like chaos, especially when you get a couple of us, because we'll be like, oh, you can drop down prone in this game, and then you can like, if you're in the swamp, you'll like roll around in the swamp or the mud or the woods wherever you're at, and you'll kind of cover yourself camo. You'll get camo to conceal yourself from these different things. But like if everything's going on and one person doesn't hear it, it's gonna drop them down, and then you have no clue what's going on because you have a mini map in the game, which is super useful. But all of a sudden you lose your mini map. That just goes static, and you have no clue where these guys are coming in from until you actually see them.
Yeah. So playing solo is obviously a different kind of game than playing co-op, where co-op you're kind of sticking together and you got to do kind of whatever the other people want to do, like communicate on what you want to do. With solo, you're kind of free to do whatever you want in the world. And I've just been kind of playing it the way that I play like in-game Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, where I'm just I grab a helicopter. Of course, there's no helicopter in Assassin's Creed, but you know what I mean. I grab a helicopter and I'm just buzzing around from location to location, just checking it out, like seeing what's going on, clearing out the map. There's like special gun hunts that you can pick up. I'll just say, we don't need to get into it, but the mission screen with all of the different stuff is ridiculous. And oh my God, like
it takes a while to learn.
It's so confusing, but a lot of the menus in this game are confusing. But you get clues basically, and that can lead to different kinds of investigations. And one of those types of investigations is getting a special weapon. So I've been doing those because I want some cool guns.
Some of those have been pretty hard. So if that's what you've been working off, like I'm giving you like hats off. Congratulations, because I've gone into some of them and like nope, I can't do this. I've got to wait till everybody's on and then remember about this one.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if you're solo, you got to play it completely different. Like if you're doing assault, running in with a shotgun or even an assault rifle, I can see getting just destroyed. You have to survey the area, find as many people as you can, and then really pick your moment to get in, because if you alert that base too early, you're just gonna get swarmed. And I've been, I'm equating it a little bit to Metal Gear Solid 5 in the way that even like the gameplay is, and especially the world map, and the way that it's just kind of open and you can run around wherever you want. And then you have these clusters of buildings and enemies and stuff like that. But it's a lot more challenging than Metal Gear Solid 5 ever was, because I always felt like in MGS5 you could, even from the beginning, you could just kind of go in and mow everybody down if you wanted to. But this is not that. So I'm kind of getting that vibe where you're kind of, strategically scoping out the base and then infiltrating it like in MGS5, but I'm being more careful, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I do want to go. I haven't played in a couple of days, but I do want to go back and at least see if it's still interesting to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
really,
I don't know how far I'll get, but
for this one too, with how much like negative has been going around about it, there's been a lot of new players and people that don't normally play these type of games have been coming into it, at least with the groups I've been playing with, and really enjoying it. So like there's a lot of people that like played Wildlands and they didn't like it, but they've come into this and they're just like blown away by it and want to like keep playing, and they'll message me, "Hey, you on tonight? What time you getting on? When can we do this? Are you rolling with a group?"
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool to see. But just like a couple quick things to go through at the end here. You can now like modify your weapon some. So you can attach equipment to it, and then they have a gunsmith where you can kind of like RPG like upgrade it. But once you upgrade like a certain weapon, let's say you have an AK-47, but then you put all your resources into getting it to the MK2 level, because there's 3 levels for every gun. And later on you find an AK-47 that's like 10, 15 gear score higher. The good thing is you pick up that and you have all that unlocked still, so they're not hindering you for going around and trying different weapons. They're kind of letting you upgrade, and then as soon as you get that new version, you still have the stuff you've kind of unlocked. So that was kind of cool. So it's kind of like, like I said, it's like a loose little RPG system and gear score system to try to adapt from other games, because it's been popular with stuff like in Division and Destiny with the light leveling.
This is definitely a loot game. So you're going to be picking stuff up and you're going to find something new and you're just going to throw the old one away. It's not like some games where you'll pick your weapon and then you'll constantly be upgrading that one weapon or something like that. The only thing that I think it's great that they let you unlock those tiers and upgrades per like the entire, for that specific,
for that type of gun.
But it's not that type. Well, I guess it's confusing because it is just, if you unlock those things for AK-47, it is just for AK-47.
Yeah.
It's not for all assault rifles.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of assault rifles. There are a lot of different kinds of assault rifles. There are a lot of different kinds of snipers and sniper rifles. And in fact, I think I've maybe picked up 2 AK-47s the whole time I've been playing.
The loot's been weird.
And I wish it was more for like gun class as opposed to like gun brand or whatever. Because it seems like there's just so many different versions of assault rifles and so many different versions of this and so many different versions of that. And they don't, at least so far, I haven't really found, like I picked up an M4 or whatever, and then I picked up I don't know, it was like a G14 or something. I don't know what it was, but I didn't really see any difference between them. There wasn't like, it didn't really seem worth it to have these two complete distinct guns when they kind of looked and operated in the same fashion. So I'm not really sure what the thought process was on that, other than, making you spend extra skill monies on upgrading both classes. I'm enjoying it, and I'm planning on going back. I'm glad I got it for the Uplay Plus on PC, because I only paid $15 for it, and I probably don't expect myself to play it much more outside of when my subscription expires. But I'm glad I did check it out, and I'm having it's like a non-serious game that I'm jumping into and just kind of screwing around in as like a palate cleanser or something like that.
Yeah, that's like the thing about it too, is like I could loosely tell you what the story was, and I have it beat.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we're like, oh, let's keep doing stuff, so let's skip through the cutscenes. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and that's how a lot of those multiplayer-focused games go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we'll move on now. That was Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Voxel Viewpoint. If you'd like to hear or see more, please consider subscribing to us on your favorite podcast app, subscribing to us on YouTube, or visiting voxelvoice.com, where all of our great content comes together in one place. Also check out the Voxel Voice Facebook group, where you can join in on the discussion with a great, like-minded community.